All right, hello and welcome back, everybody. So time to do some more game design writing and such. Thanks so much for being here. I can't wait to kind of get into it all here. Um, so when last we left off, we were taking a look through the pugilist class, doing some updates there. Um, and this is how that turned out. We added in some exalted melee basic attacks here. We tuned up and discussed changes to, well, one, just how basic attacks work. We changed, sorry, I'm looking through some things here. We updated the triage here to get rid of some target numbers. We actually did choose to keep target numbers in a certain spot here for the pugilist stances. And so that is one of the reasons why there's a little bit extra info here. Actually, let's go ahead and just quickly move this target number sidebar uh, over from the discipline section, since that's just our heroic resource, to actually where it's going to matter with the pugilist stances. Yeah, so that would be right here. There we go. Um, all right. Looking good. All right. So, what I was thinking we do next is probably just keep going with the core classes, and then we'll wind up looping back to take a look at archetypes and subclasses and such. Um, we also could work on fixing the pugilist tactical exploits, which are their special attacks. I feel like that's going to be a bit more of a frustration, a bit more of a headache, just given that there are a lot of them, and I'm going to bet a majority of them involve target numbers. Yeah, no, I barely got into the second page. I get some target number stuff here. So let's just kind of see what all you guys are interested in. We can do Ranger. How far did we get here? Um, okay, so we got up to 7th level with the Ranger here. So we do not have their capstone feature. So that might be something fun to work on. Um, we can take a peek into the Sorcerer. How far did that one get? Its development cycle. 4th level. Okay. And we have an idea for a 10th level. Okay, okay, interesting. And some stuff. Okay, okay, I see. Um, we've got the speaker class here. This seems pretty similar to the sorcerer in that we've got, sorry, to the ranger in that we've got up to 7th level and no capstone. The wizard has a lot that we will need to kind of work on, but we do have a basic roadmap to 10th level here. Man, that feels a bit out of date. Oh, this is a newer ability, newer version of things. Scroll wizard order doesn't have the counterspell changes. Interesting. So yeah, I think let's go ahead and just keep doing our base classes. So let's go ahead and jump to the Ranger. Excuse me, I still have a bit of that nasal congestion, but it seems to be mostly going away. So that is honestly fantastic. So we copied over the duelist here, but let's just go ahead and begin swapping that all out with Ranger information. There we go. All right, Ranger traits. The Ranger class features table. All right, our Ranger archetypes here are called conclaves. So our Ranger conclave features. All right. And we do have two columns here that we need. So let's go ahead and get that pre-formatted. Okay, let's bring open our tools here. Yes, table options. That is exactly what we're looking for. All right, so 542 is our level here. Let's go ahead and add in a column next to duelist grit. Insert column right. Change the level here to 542. There we go. Back again. So duelist's grit is going to be immediately replaced by hunter's quarry. And then we have action surge uses. If I can spell. All right. So let's go ahead and actually just make that one a little wider so that way we can get it all on two lines. Come on. There we go. Push Hunter's Quarry over just a smidge. There we go. Close out of that menu. All right, so Hunter's Quarry is a number of dice. You're going to immediately see, hey, this probably looks a bit like Sneak Attack from the 5e Rogue. And you would be right. Because the best ranger in 5e is a rogue. It goes 3d6 through 6th level, and then 46 to the end. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. All right. So our Rangers' core traits here. They are primarily a striker, secondarily a controller. Their power source is martial and primal. That gives you hints that they might have some magic coming up later. As a ranger, you gain focus with your dexterity and wisdom ability scores. And so it's just those two, so we don't even have to worry about the nickname clause. So there we go there. Because the ranger in this game is actually going to be sticking a lot towards the core fantasy of natural, martial, and ranged character, strong affinity to nature, connection to animals, environments, and the like, versus whatever they're trying to do with 5e. All right, hit die is going to be 1d8. This might actually go up in the future. We'll have to kind of see. Hit points at first level is going to be 8 plus con plus origin. Hit points at higher levels is going to be d8 or 5 plus con plus per ranger level after first. All right. So we have a lot of attack attribute options here from our older version. I don't think all of these are going to get transferred over, but we're going to kind of have to see. So might, first thing is it says is that rangers can use their acrobatics for might. I'm going to just immediately axe that, just because acrobatics is already innately tied to agility. So might, so a ranger who attacks with might should be either athletics, or I'm going to keep the other option of endurance. Agility, acrobatics, and then I also quite like this, stealth. You attack with your stealth. You are inherently cunning. Excuse me. You are able to hide in the brush, the underbrush, and because you are so stealthy, you have a better chance to attack, hit, and deal damage. Then for spellcraft, Arcana by default. I did have it say insight here. I don't think I'm going to keep insight for spellcraft, but I am going to keep nature because this is a natural class. This is a nature-oriented class. It is inheriting a lot of flavor from rangers throughout fiction, but also it is inheriting things from the druid class in 5e, since that isn't fully represented in this game as its own standalone class. Armor proficiencies. We have them down here as just light armor. I'm going to keep that for right now, but that might also change to go light armor and medium armor. And then simple and martial weapons, so you get basically every weapon. Train to use the number of weapons you're proficient with equal to your wisdom modifier. Makes sense. Okay, since the ranger is going to be primarily dex and wisdom focused. So yeah, this is going to be your longer ranged class, so you're primarily going to be attacking with your agility, but you are going to have options for attacking with might. but like it's going to be primarily ranged. Additional equipment. Yep, that sticks around. All right. So our first ability here is our core ability, Hunter's Quarry. Now, one thing you're going to notice is the Ranger does not have a heroic resource. You might ask why. Because I don't think balancing a heroic resource is necessary to fulfill the Ranger's fantasy. Hunter's Quarry fills a lot of those gaps where you get the options and abilities to tone your attacks up and down, but without generating and maintaining a pool of points or dice or any of that from round to round. Instead, when you make an attack against a creature designated as your quarry, your attack just automatically deals extra damage if you meet some of the different conditions. And then you can decrement that die, decrement the dice that you roll there to add different effects. So it's just an always on version of a heroic resource. So instead of collecting fury points, whenever you just attack this creature, you get extra damage. It's flat, it's simple, and this honestly is a good class to start out with and learn from because of that. So, Hunter's Quarry, first level ranger feature. As a minor action, you can mark a target you can see as your quarry. This designation lasts 8 hours until the quarry is defeated or until you designate a different target. While a creature is marked as your quarry, you have advantage tier 1, so we can just cut that and call it advantage. Advantage on any wisdom, perception, or survival. So I do like how I used to do this, but the way that I have updated the language for skills means that this isn't able to be done. So it would be perception wisdom or survival wisdom. This is cleaner, but I think I have to stick with the actual formatting for the rest of the book. So unfortunately, this does have to get changed. Checks made to track it. Once per turn, when you hit a creature marked as your quarry with a melee or ranged weapon attack. So once again, melee or ranged, your attack deals an additional 2d6 damage. The amount of extra damage increases as you gain levels as a ranger, as shown on the Hunter's Quarry column of the ranger table. When you would deal damage with your Hunter's Quarry, you can add one of the following effects. Each effect has a die cost, which is the number of Hunter's Quarry dice you must forgo to add the effect. You remove the die before rolling, and the effect occurs immediately after the attack's damage is dealt. Alright, so poison. You lace your strike with a deadly toxin. Until the start of your next turn, the next time you score a critical hit against the opponent, they are inflicted with the damage over time poison condition, dealing 1d6 poison damage at the start of their turn. Critical hits don't exist, so we're going to need to fix this. Then we have a clause here. To use this effect, you must be proficient with a poisoner's kit and have one on your person. This effect does not take the place of any critical effect inflicted as a part of scoring a critical hit. So I do like that clause just so that you have the poisoner's kit on you. So you're just whipping up a small poison. But we're going to tweak it to make it a little bit more broad. Okay, you lace your strike with a deadly toxin. So, uh, so you're automatically going to hit. So that's just going to baseline happen. Your next melee or ranged weapon attack deals an additional 1d6 poison damage if you roll a tier 3 or 4 success, your attack if you roll a tier 4 result on your next attack, your target takes the additional poison damage and is also inflicted with the damage over time poison condition. Dealing 1d6 poison damage at the start of their turn. To use this effect, you must either be proficient with a poisoner's kit and have one on your person, or have a flask or vial of poison that you can use to treat your weapons. This effect does not take the place of any critical effect inflicted as a part of scoring. Does not take the place of any flourish performed as a part of rolling a tier 3 or 4 result on your attack roll. Honestly, that line there throws a bit of a wrench into the plans because it would imply that other abilities that would do something like that would take the place. So let's just get rid of that. To use this effect, you must either be proficient with a poisoner's kit and have one person, or have a flask or other vial of poison, or have a vial of poison. You know, we can get rid of the flask part, or have a vial of poison that you can available that you can use to treat your weapons. Slink cost 1d6 until the start of your next turn. The next time you take the move action, your movement speed is increased by 10 feet, and you ignore difficult terrain. Vanish. Until the start of your next turn, you can take the hide action as a minor action. That is pretty good. I do believe we had a similar thing with the duelist. Let me take a quick peek back to that, because that does seem a bit minimal. Until the start of your next turn, you can take the disengage, dodge, or hide action as a minor action. I think I'm just going to copy that directly over, because that all costs 1d6 panache. This is going to cost 1d6 of your attack. It's actually pretty fair. Disengage, dodge, or hide as a minor action. Until the start of your next turn. I mean, I get why it's the start, but at the same time, you might have to move to get into position and then attack. I mean, then you could minor action, or you could, as we're going to get to later, action surge. So we will leave that. That might need to be playtested to determine length. And then once again, now we have 3 abilities here. And that goes to parallel the duelist. So we're going to want to create one more here, since these are going to be going to subclasses. All right. So that is Hunter's Quarry. It is functionally your sneak attack. You do not have any limit on the number of times you can use Hunter's Quarry. You just have one at a time. Okay, so Natural Explorer. This is where the ranger is a nature warrior archetype really kind of comes to the foreground. Okay. Yes. Okay. I believe this is taking the name from a 5e ability, but it's, once again, it is completely different. Okay, Natural Explorer. You are particularly familiar with one type of natural environment and are adept at traveling and surviving in such regions. Choose one type of favored terrain: Arctic, coast, desert, forest, grassland, jungle, mountain, open sea, swamp, or urban. When you make an intellect or wisdom skill check or ability related to your favorite terrain, you gain a bonus equal to the maximum roll of your proficiency die. +6 between first and fifth. Okay. For one, let's get rid of the 11 to 15, since that is not a part of this core rulebook. There we go. You do not roll your proficiency die. No, hang on. You gain a bonus equal to the maximum roll on your proficiency die on the check. to the roll equal to the maximum roll of your proficiency die. There we go. Okay. If you are making a roll, this bonus does not override your proficiency in a skill. If you are making a check with a skill you are proficient in, you roll your proficiency die and gain this bonus. Yeah. So basically, this is just saying, hey, I'm really proficient in understanding this environment. So I just have a flat +6 bonus. It basically creates a skill floor, so your minimum roll will almost never be a tier 1 result. I mean, honestly, I don't know if ever would be a tier 1 result just because of +6 to +8 and the minimum result of the dice. Related to your favorite terrain. Yeah. You choose additional favored terrain options at 4th and 7th level. When you reach 10th level as a ranger, any environment you inhabit is considered your favorite terrain. That is a remarkably powerful ability. Because at 10th level, whenever you are investigating or making a check to recall knowledge or understand like city planning or such, you just get a flat +8 bonus to that roll. It is powerful, but it is primarily lore dependent. And once again, determining whether or not you are familiar, it is a bonus for being incredibly familiar with and attuned to the natural world. While adventuring in your favored terrain, you gain the following benefits. Once again, 1 at 1st level, 2 at 4th, 3 at 7th, all at 10th. Crypsis. While you and your allies are traveling in your favored terrain, you can move stealthily at a normal pace, are not slowed by difficult terrain, and cannot become lost except by magical means. So this is a lot of kind of more overland travel. So this is not going to be this is not going to make you everyone immune to difficult terrain in your favorite terrain during a combat. Give me one quick second. All right, I am returned. So yes, uh, or not a little bit difficult terrain. Honestly, maybe I just leave that in there. Maybe that is just like you can't have difficult terrain affect you. Okay, so that yes, Link would be fine just because it's not just in your normal terrain. In your excuse me, in your favorite terrain. This is any terrain. So I think you just automatically get that and just ignore difficult terrain in your area, which is really nice. um, Restoration. Once per day, when you complete a short rest in your favorite terrain, you or one creature of your choice gains the benefit of the restoration spell performed at its base level. So just a free lesser restoration once per day during a short rest. Honestly, that's kind of a minor thing, but I mean, it's still something. Surveillance. When you would take time to forage for resources, you find twice as much food as you normally would. Additionally, when tracking creatures through your favorite terrain, you learn their exact number, their sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. This is very simple. I just find stuff. It's a simple benefit. It's mostly flavor for just kind of reading through and just kind of doing travel in an RPG setting. Um, all right, and then finally, vigilance. While you take a short or long rest in your favorite terrain, the duration of the rest you benefit. Sorry, for the duration of the rest, you benefit from the effects of the alarm spell at a radius of 120 feet from the center of your campsite. You do not need to expend any time, spell slots, or material components to gain this effect. When you complete the rest, you are able to recognize the tracks, signs, and remains of all beasts and creatures designated as favorite enemies that traverse the area near your camp. So basically, if something comes up towards you, you get to know about it. You get the little bell sound in your head. Hey, something's coming in here. And if that doesn't happen, it's okay. You also just know what came near your camp, what was interested in you, and like kind of just went the other way. Once again, just good for keeping safe in the wilderness. You want a ranger in your party just because this ability is going to keep your party alive. Um, and once again, I cannot stress this enough. At 10th level, this is all terrain. So, like, you want to take a short or long rest, you are going to know if anyone tries to come to you. And that triggers when they're 120 feet away from you. So you have a little bit of time to get ready. You are at 10th level, you are not slowed by any difficult terrain. Like it becomes a flat out immunity. Like rangers are good. I cannot stress that enough. All right, then we have our standard kind of ranger special attacks here. And because rangers don't have a heroic resource, this is going to be our standard. You have abilities that are going to have their own cooldowns. You don't have the you can spend extra XYZ to heighten it. Um, you know and can perform a number of special attacks from the ranger special attacks list equal to your wisdom modifier minimum of 3. You can change your list of prepared special attacks when you complete an extended rest. All right, and then here is a divergent option for the ranger class. you have two features, and you choose which one you take. You get Spirit of the Wilderness, or you get Wild Companion. And this does kind of soft lock one of your subclasses. So I'm just going to call that out right here. In reading through the class, you will it has a prerequisite call out in the subclass description, but I want to make sure that that is said in advance. So you basically get one of these two features. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just kind of copy that over here. Um, okay. It's a lot. Okay, so Spirit of the Wilderness. Um, First level ranger feature. First level ranger optional feature. Um, yeah, so the way that this is worded is that Spirit of the Wilderness is your choice to take, but it will negate the Wild Companion feature. If you choose not to take Spirit of the Wilderness, you get Wild Companion. Just important to call out there. This first level feature replaces the Wild Companion feature. You gain no benefit from the replaced feature and do not qualify for anything in the game that requires it. Just hard stop saying, hey, the next feature for first level rangers is not yours. You do not get it by having this, by taking Spirit of the Wilderness. So, Spirit of the Wilderness, you have a deep connection to the natural world, granting you additional abilities representative of your favored terrain. These bonuses tailor a ranger's survival instincts, combat effectiveness, and awareness in environments like and unlike their chosen terrain. When you select your favored terrain option at first level, you gain the following additional benefits, reflecting your experience with that environment. Um, uh, I need to make a note here that when you get your additional ones at 4th, 7th, and then all at 10th, you don't get those. Actually, you know what? When you complete an extended rest, you can swap um, the benefit given by this feature for another. Swap the benefit given by this feature for that. What is the? I have verbiage for this. I don't know why it's blanking in my brain right now. Whenever you complete a long rest, when you complete an extended list, you can choose a new option. There we go. Why am when you complete an extended rest, you can choose a new feature from one of your favored terrain options. So like if your favorite terrain is the Arctic, you at first level you just automatically get the Arctic ability from Spirit of the Wilderness here. At fourth level, if you have favorite terrain of Arctic and coast, your Spirit of the Wilderness, you take an extended rest. You can choose either the Arctic or the coast. You don't get both. At 10th level, you have all favored terrain options, so you can choose any single one of these options for your Spirit of the Wilderness. Okay, so Arctic. You gain resistance to cold damage. If you already have resistance, you gain immunity to cold damage. So this is, once again, quite strong. I believe it's hide armor that gives you resistance to cold damage. So you can be a ranger. And if I'm remembering correctly, hide is light armor. It might not be. It might need to be, that might need to be tweaked. But if you're wearing hide armor, you get resistance to cold damage, and then by Spirit of the Wilderness, you then get immunity to cold damage just by wearing a set of armor and being acclimated to the cold. Strong stuff. Coast. You gain a swimming speed equal to your movement speed, and have advantage, tier 1's just advantage, on strength athletics. We're going to have to swap that around. Athletics, strength, and constitution endurance. So endurance, constitution. Challenges to resist fatigue when swimming or otherwise interacting with a coastal environment. So it's just harder to get fatigued. Quite good. Desert. You gain resistance to your choice of fire or radiant damage. Whenever you would take the defend reaction against an attack that deals radiant damage, you can take the Mirage defense reaction. Instead, cost armor point, same as the defend action. Triggers when you take defend reaction. Implement innate, reach self, target self. When you would take radiant damage from an opponent's attack, you decrease their damage by the targeted defense attribute and create a mirage in an unoccupied space that you can see within 15 feet of you. The mirage is an illusory duplicate of yourself that lasts until it is destroyed, until you dismiss it as a minor action, or until you are incapacitated. The mirage has 1 hit point and takes no damage from attack rolls of 9 and lower. It has immunity to all conditions and uses your bonuses for skills, attacks, and resistances. On your turn, you can move the mirage up to your movement speed in any direction, no action required. If the mirage is ever more than 45 feet from you at the end of your turn, it is destroyed. As a major action, you can swap positions with the mirage. Whenever you make an attack on your turn, or would make an attack of opportunity as a reaction, you can choose whether the attack originates from your space or the mirage's. So you basically just create an illusory duplicate out there, whipped up from the sand, because you bent the radiant energy into a form of light. It's fun. I love this ability, especially just with all of the other things, because you can then just position it around, get some good bonuses and such. Forest. As a minor action, you can turn invisible until the end of your next turn, or until okay. Okay, so I need to fix the language here. Or until you make an attack roll, or force someone to make a resistance challenge. Get rid of that clause there, because resistance challenges aren't a thing. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until you complete a short rest. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 1 point of willpower to use this ability again. Grassland. Your movement speed increases by 10 feet, and you gain your choice of advantage tier 1 on all dexterity stealth challenges, or advantage tier 2 on all initiative challenges. Okay, so for 1, stealth dexterity. Or advantage tier 2 on all initiative challenges. So just, you're gonna act first. Jungle. You gain resistance to poison damage and have dark vision at a range of 30 feet. If you already have dark vision, your range increases by 20 feet. Nice. Mountain. You gain an additional use of your defend reaction. So you gain an additional armor point. Armor point. And when you take the defend reaction, you automatically reduce all incoming cold damage to 0. So this is not cold resistance or cold immunity, but if you are taking cold damage and you choose to defend against it, you don't take any. You gain advantage tier 1 on strength athletics. You can swap that around. Athletics, strength, and dexterity acrobatics. So acrobatics, dexterity. Checks to maintain balance, keep your footing, and resist forced movement. And also, since it's advantage tier 1, you just get rid of the tier 1 call out there. Alright, open sea. You gain a swimming speed equal to your movement speed and have advantage tier 2 on your resistance rolls to maintain your breath underwater. Okay. So this would not be a resistance roll, this would be a skill challenge. On skill challenges, ability challenges. Ability challenges to maintain your breath underwater. You also have advantage tier 1 on wisdom perception. So 1, get rid of tier 1. On perception wisdom challenges. So open sea, similar but different to the coast. You get the swimming speed. This one gives you advantage on athletic strength and endurance constitution to resist fatigue. This one gives you the extra ability to hold your breath for longer. And then also bonus to perception. Swamp. Your reach when using a melee weapon increases by 5 feet, and you gain resistance to the poison condition. Let me read that again, because that is a very powerful ability. It is very niche, but man, it's cool. Your reach when using a melee weapon increases by 5 feet. So you can attack someone with a short sword at a range of 10 feet away from you. by being proficient with the swamp. This is powerful. This is good stuff. It's quite fun. Urban. You have advantage tier 2 on charisma streetwise checks. For one, that's going to be streetwise charisma. Honestly, that kind of sounds like a band name. Streetwise charisma. Checks. Once you have spent at least 4 hours canvassing and carousing in an urban environment, you are familiar with all public figures and locations as if you'd taken an extended rest in the city. Really good for intel gathering. All right, and so this is the feature that you get if you choose not to take one of these. Wild Companion. Throughout your travels and through your direct connection to nature, you gain the ability to call forth a companion spirit that assumes an animal form. You know the spell Find Familiar and can cast this spell as a part of taking a short or long rest. When you perform this ritual, the spell does not require material components. So that seems simple, but the Ranger class gets bonuses for having familiars. And I believe, well, no, not I believe, I know. The core of the Beastmaster Conclave is all about Find Familiar. So your beast is a familiar spirit. And it's going to increase the combat and challenge rating of creatures that you can get as a familiar. I believe that would go up to and include things like bears. So you could have a bear as your familiar, and you can just summon them whenever you take a short or long rest. So Wild Companion is a prerequisite for the Beastmaster Conclave. It is a necessary component. But also, if you want the Ranger to be a pet class, you take Wild Companion. If you don't need a pet, take Spirit of the Wilderness. That is the trade-off if you want a pet. So the Ranger can do both. It is designed so that it can be a pet class, and then you can also go even further into it being a pet class by taking the pet subclass. Or you can just be badass nature warrior. It's your choice. Yes, I am proud of this. So let's go ahead and copy over our table here for Ranger Conclaves and the standard text for your Paragon talent. We have an empty sidebar here that I'm going to just go ahead and throw a quick comment on, just about narratively summoning familiars. So, our Ranger Conclaves. The Beastmaster. Prerequisite, Wild Companion. This is your pet subclass. Then we have the Monster Slayer Conclave, which is going to give you similar styles of abilities with things like Favored Enemy to Spirit of the Wilderness. So once again, lots more customization. That is the core of the Ranger class. Lots of customization, so you can create a very unique nature-focused character. Primordial Soul, this is your Elementals Ranger. Wildheart, this is your Shapeshifter Ranger. Once again, the Druid isn't a core class here, so the Ranger gets to inherit some of that nature. And so Shapeshifters, that's going to be your Wildheart Ranger. Yeah. I am checking the clock here because I do have things I have to take care of later today, so I might have to end up calling the stream a little bit early. So yeah, let's just kind of see how things are going. Okay, I think we can finish up the ranger here. We only have 3 abilities left because we haven't figured out the capstone. Let's just make it to the end of the ranger, and then I'll call the stream. Okay, so that is 3rd, 6th, and 9th level feature. They're giving you your Paragon talents. And then copying over our remaining information here. Favorite enemy. In your time spent adventuring, you have spent a significant amount of time studying, tracking, hunting, and even talking to a certain type of enemy. Choose a type of favorite enemy. Aberrations, beasts, celestials, constructs, dragons, elementals. Fae, misspelled. Fiends, giants, humanoids, monstrosities, oozes, plants, or undead. I'm going to make a quick note here. Oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. You have advantage on wisdom survival checks to track your favorite enemies. 1, survival, wisdom, and oh yeah, if you throw your hunter's quarry on a favored creature, that's advantage tier 2. Just by default. Just quick little thing there. As well as on intelligence, that's not a skill. Intellect. Intellect checks to recall information about them. When you gain this feature, you also learn one language of your choice that is spoken by your favorite enemies if they speak one at all. When you make a melee or ranged weapon attack against a favorite enemy, you can make an additional attack as part of the same action. No. That is old. That is crusty. Because that would imply multi-attack exists. It doesn't. However, this could be where we introduce improved melee basic attacks. I don't know. Maybe we give them that at 7th level. We hold off just because Action Surge is a thing. Where is Action Surge, by the way? Oh, we didn't cut. We forgot to bring that over. Okay. Action Surge. If you've played a 5e fighter, it's pretty similar. You draw from a well of stamina within you and push yourself beyond your normal limits for a moment. On your turn, you can take one additional major action. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until the start of your next turn. The number of times you can use this ability increases as you gain levels as a ranger, as shown in the Action Surge uses of the ranger table. You regain all expended uses when you complete a long rest. So we have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to change this to a short rest. Just because I think it's going to be better that way. I think it's going to be healthier. Short rest. When you have no uses remaining, you can spend 1 point of willpower to use this ability again. So basically, you're going to be attacking twice on everything. So instead of getting the extra 1W from an improved melee basic attack, you're going to be spending your action surges at 4th level. So that means that we theoretically could do improved melee basic attacks at 7th or 10th to increase our damage output that way. Just food for thought. Deft Footfalls at 7th level. You can cast the Pass Without Trace spell with this trait. Once you cast this spell using this ability, you can't cast it again until you complete a long rest or until you complete a short or long rest in your favorite terrain. When you cast Pass Without Trace in your favorite terrain, it is not considered a magical effect and cannot be countered or dispelled. Once again, just a nice little bonus for being in your favorite terrain. Hunter's Senses. When you designate a creature as your quarry, the designation lasts indefinitely until the target is defeated or you choose a different target. So no more it expires after 8 hours. It just lasts forever. You just know where this creature is at all times. Is that kind of a little bit circumstantial if you're trying to hunt for one creature? Sure, you hunt a creature, you might get driven back, you might have to even return to town. But your hunter's quarry mark is still on them, so no matter what, you always know where they are. That said, if you use your hunter's quarry to mark something else, you do lose it. So you wouldn't necessarily get your damage, but you would be trading this safety of knowing. So safety by more damage, meaning you're getting your combat encounters over faster, or safety in the fact that you always know where a dangerous target is. And so I think we're actually going to copy over improved basic attacks for 7th level here. That feels right to me. Just because Pass Without Trace is really good. And it's going to be very similar to the 5e version. That's why I'm saying it is really good. But it's also a very passive ability. Same with Hunter's Senses. So improved basic attacks. This is not a 4th level feature. This is a 7th level ranger feature. Why does it say anointed when it came from the berserker? This is going to get fixed. So for one, this is a ranger basic attack. A ranger basic attack. And then we're going to jump right over to the berserker. And so this is 4th level berserker feature. Berserker basic attack. So weirdly, I think that because we delayed the ranger getting that, it's actually probably going to have slightly higher damage output. Depending. Ranged. That should be ranger. There we go. So whenever you make an attack roll with a melee weapon attack or ranged weapon attack, you use the result from the improved basic charts instead. There we go. And then capstone ability. This is going to be something to tie together Natural Explorer, you already get all favored terrain options, which is genuinely nuts once again. You're going to probably get some more favored enemy options. And we just I don't have a good answer as to what the capstone feature should be. If you do, leave it in the comments below on our stream. There we go. But I think that is going to be our dive into the ranger. Here, we're just gonna take a look through here and just kind of feel good, because this is a better ranger. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you next time. Take care.